The Crisis Skylight Centre in the heart of East London is a national charity that provides a variety of creative and educational courses for homeless people. One of their most popular classes is singing.
Because singing is my life and that's what I want to do.
I just sing, I just love singing.
I sing anything really.
The singers at the centre have decided to put together a choir for Christmas, but they've only got 2 weeks to rehearse before they go back on the streets, this time as carol singers. 3 teachers from 2 very different schools have volunteered to help them. At St Paul's Cathedral School in Westminster, they are very proud of their reputation for musical rigour. Deputy Head Paul Cousins is used to working under pressure.
I suppose I get a degree of a buzz from the sort of pressure of doing something in a short space of time and seeing how we get on with that.
Paul's colleague Claire Dyson will also be helping out with the choir.
I'm a complete perfectionist, so I don't know how that will go down.
The other member of the team comes from the John Roan Secondary School in Greenwich. Neil Parrish is head of the music department, and like his fellow teachers, he's used to a captive audience. But this time he'll have to work hard to make sure the singers stay interested.
I don't think we'd be able to maintain that group on the current repertoire if it was to go on beyond next week.
And despite their very different teaching styles, the team will have to work together to create a choir that people will want to stop and listen to. The first signs of Christmas approaching can mark the beginning of the most challenging time of year for those most vulnerable in society, faced with isolation and poverty. Although they run courses all year round, at Christmas, the friendly classes at the Skylight Centre become even more important.
You know, the majority of people aren't just what we would say was homeless, so they didn't have somewhere to live. They would have possibly health problems or mental health problems or relationship problems, which tend to be a fairly common denominator for our client group. By being here and by having the opportunity to engage with what are really mainstream activities, like singing, dancing, all that kind of stuff, it enables people to kind of just take part in what, you know, any of us would actually want to take part in as an activity, but also to actually mix with other people so that they can develop relationships in a safe, very, very safe environment for them. You know, I think that we do set the bar quite high. I think that's what we should do, and that, you know, people should be asked to rise to that challenge. And I think it's much more beneficial for people to do that.
2 people that attend the singing classes are Martina and Tegan. They're both homeless but living in nearby temporary hostel accommodation.
About music, I'm depressed, and when I sing, it lifts my spirits, my depression goes, stuff like that. But when there's no singing classes, or there's no singing, or there's nothing happening in my life, I get very depressed very quickly.
I write 3 songs. And I'm looking for the music to put on these songs. And one is jazz, because it talks about love, and I want this one in jazz. I want to make very gently, soft and nice.
Just a stone's throw from Martina and Tegan's hostel is St Paul's Cathedral School. It dates back over 800 years. For the few boys that make the grade, to become a chorister here represents the opportunity of a lifetime. Deputy Head Paul Cousins is used to teaching musically gifted children of primary school age. How will he cope with adults who face the daily challenge of survival on the streets?
Well, I understand that a lot of the people who are potentially going to be taking part have been involved with other projects and regular workshops there, so I know that some of them can sing, but also there may be a possibility of some that haven't been involved in that sort of thing. So I'm expecting a range of abilities, and that kind of excites me.
Paul's colleague Claire Dyson has also volunteered to help out with rehearsals with the choir.
Sweetheart, you can't stand picking the organ in your own church.
I'm such a perfectionist with the children here because I know what they can achieve. I think that's going to be the issue, is I don't know what they're going to be able to achieve. So it'll be very interesting to see how much I can push them into perfection.
The John Roan Secondary School in Greenwich has been serving the community for over 300 years. Neil Parrish is head of the music department and has some experience of adult choirs outside the school.
Well, I think when teaching music, it's often about giving the people that you work with, whether adults or children, giving them the confidence, telling them the sound they make, no matter how tentative, is a good sound, and build on that, and try never to say to them, no, we don't want to hear that, no, stop there, that's the wrong note. Otherwise, people just become more and more inhibited. You have to keep saying to them, you have to get it wrong to get it right, and that's something which I keep throwing at the children. You have to get it wrong to get it right. Hey, buddy, please, can you lend me a dime? I gotta call some friends. When you do this, what I do here every day as a school teacher, your customers come, the bell goes, 30 people come in, and you work with them. What I like about working with voluntary groups like this and all adult groups is, unless you're presenting a good rehearsal, and it's interesting, and it's relevant, and they're having fun, they just don't show the next week.
Tonight is the very first meeting for the carol singers. Paul has come on his own, and he's going to try out some warm-up techniques to test the voices of the singers.
Nice sound.
He wants to find out their vocal range before the rehearsals start properly.
Now, you'll get used to these as you come along, and we'll move through them quite quickly. I'm going to teach you what I believe is quite a fun one now, and it's called Nice Cup Of. So nice cup of, and really exaggerate when we get to the top, tea, because it's a crazy, silly, ridiculous word. So we're just going to go up a bit, we'll go a bit faster, and I want to see everybody smiling. Here we go, and nice cup of, 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 nice cup of tea. I mean, tonight was very, very frustrating because I was trapped behind the piano. And I don't like doing that. That's not my preferred style of teaching with this sort of group, because it's so much about getting out there. As you notice that bit where I had to just leave the piano and go out there. I'm going to give up on the piano because I need to communicate with you. So let's try it. After 2, 1, 2. Now bring us a figgy pudding, now bring us a figgy pudding, now bring us a figgy pudding, and bring some out here. Good, I've got some fabulous faceage going on there. Let's try it one more time, even faster. And it's really small, and it's really, really like little insects or birds pecking away. We really want some figgy pudding, okay? 1, 2. Now bring us a figgy pudding, now bring us a figgy pudding, now bring us a figgy pudding, and bring some out here. Good. Could you tell me, particularly ladies, if you know you are a soprano and that's what you normally do, and you sing the top part, and you're good at singing the tune and you can sing all the high notes, is there anyone who knows that's them? Okay. Do any of you know that you're not that person and you sing the harmony bits and you sing lower generally?
Peter, yeah, I've actually got a high voice.
You've got a high voice. This is good. We've got one. I'm feeling quite good about it as a project. I mean, they can sing in tune, they can sing in harmony, and they're picking up things quite quickly, mostly by rote, which is good news.
Well, it'd be nicer if we were doing a few carols and something else as well. But if we're just doing carols, we're doing carols.
One of the choir, David, has been homeless on and off for most of his adult life, but he's beginning to develop his love of music. He spends most of his day at a nearby hostel and most of his hours learning to play the guitar.
I mean, I guess I've been quite a lot of my life actually. I've been pretty directionless, as in the only thing I ever really wanted to do was sing, and never ever did anything about it. So I just sort of put it about, done the normal thing, worked because you have to work, you know. But sort of been all right at everything I've done, but never. No real passion or desire to stay there, you know. I always feel like I'm missing out on what I want to do. You know, the thing with doing this singing class is it's good for me in a different way, because I'm getting used to singing with other people. You know, with a group you want it all to sound right. Whereas when you're doing it by yourself, it doesn't matter how you do it, it's going to sound right.
It's the second rehearsal, and this time Neil and Paul will be working together.
Okay, cheesy smiles. Dumba 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 dum. The Virgin Mary had a baby boy. The Virgin Mary had a baby boy.
With only 3 more rehearsals to go, it's essential that they gel as a team and work well with the group. But already Neil is having doubts about the level of challenge they've set for the choir.
Clearly, some of them are used to sort of singing repertoire, which is far more advanced than what we're getting them to sing, which is like simple sort of 3-note harmony lines. And I think we need to challenge them a lot more and to get more from them. I don't think we'd be able to maintain that group on the current repertoire if it was to go on beyond next week.
He came from the glorious kingdom. Wow. Generally, thank you all of you. You're making a very, very nice sound. I've got a few pages, corners turned down in the book just for ideas of things to think about. So I think we definitely need another piece of the same kind of ilk that we're doing, maybe a little bit more challenging, but...
That's what I'm going to be thinking about as well.
Yeah. Yeah, if you've got any ideas, bring it on.
Back at school after the weekend, Paul is a little nervous about the next rehearsal.
We'll pretty much see how it goes. I've arranged a couple of pieces. I've got quite a few ideas. There aren't huge expectations on the quantity of stuff we do. So we'll just go with them and see how it goes.
And over in Greenwich, Neil has found a newly written song, The Big Issue, that he wants to try out with the choir tonight.
I think my role in the project contrasts quite well with Paul's role. I think it's quite good how it's worked out that we both come at this from different traditions of music making, and I think it'd be fair to say that I'm probably a little bit more experimental.
It's the third rehearsal, and this time Paul and Neil are being joined by Claire. She's determined to boost their morale.
I didn't know what to expect, to be honest, when I went in there. The only homeless people I've seen are ones that we see on the street when you're walking around, and you know, I will give them money and buy The Big Issue, but I didn't know what to expect really. So it was quite an eye-opener. There were some real characters there.
Neil's brought along the sheet music of the new song that he'd like to rehearse.
So not too loud, just keep the sort of how big issue. That's great, yeah. Big issue. Keep it going. Big issue, 2, 3, 4. Can you 2, 3? Big issue.
But it's not long before the choir is struggling to follow the music.
Quite an ambitious piece.
Yeah, but I think it's good to go for something which is not going to be quite finished and complete, just to give us a reason to rehearse, actually.
Progress.
Otherwise, I think by the end of the next rehearsal, we will have more or less got it all wrapped up, and it'll just be, but can you come out again, just to sing it all through again? I think it's nice to go for the sky sometimes.
It was quite interesting. There was one lady who she obviously couldn't read music, so she didn't understand that you go from the top line and there's sort of 4 other lines underneath, and then you have to jump down. So it was quite interesting. It was quite nice to see that by the end of it she understood what she was doing and what she was reading. But they were fantastic tonight. They were so enthusiastic.